Is it true that we come alive not once, but many times? We are drawn back to the image of the seed in darkness, or the greying skin of the snake that hides a shining one.
My first memory of London was also my first memory of the Queen Elizabeth Hall. And actually it kind of opened my eyes to London as an incredibly cosmopolitan and open place.
The beautiful thing about the Purcell Room is the sense of intimacy that you get. It's a very pure place to play in, but when it's full, you know, that real kind of feeling that this place is bursting to the rafters.
One great thing about the Hayward is it's a very flexible space. Each gallery has a really different character, and so it allows a nice variety of pacing that I think really animates your experience of looking at art.
The first time I saw this building, it was on the front cover of the AR. It's actually the first ever copy of the Architectural Review that I bought in 1967. And I was just kind of knocked out by it, and it was very much a new kind of architecture in those days. It was sculpture rather than architecture, and it was a kind of challenging response to the kind of politeness of the Royal Festival Hall.
The architects had been interested in thinking about the city as a single building, a city within which all buildings and infrastructure merge together into a single whole. It's a relic of a great idea.
The history of the site always made me so excited, and still does. The Royal Festival Hall was created in 1951, after the Second World War, when people were really trying to think, how do we make the world better? And one of the ways to do that was to create a site which was dedicated to the idea of the people's imagination.
It was a remarkable thing, and people in London looked at it and thought, we're starting again. This is just wonderful. The seeds are flowering.
The Royal Festival Hall was the LCC's prestige building. It was made quite clear to the architects who were going to work on this new scheme round here that whatever they did, it mustn't compromise the Royal Festival Hall. In one way, they defer to it, but in the other ways, they do compete with it without question.
I think it's an incredible place, an emotional place. I really do. It's beautiful.
The Royal Festival Hall has a fantastic set of spaces. They're all interconnected, they're full of light, they're quite luxurious, actually, which is a great thing, and people feel that they can go from encounter to encounter and see what's on, change their mind, take part in things that they didn't expect to. The Queen Elizabeth Hall and the Hayward Gallery are wonderful art spaces when you go inside the actual, theatre, performance space or gallery, but the foyer spaces don't draw you in.
The whole idea about these buildings is that they are challenging. There are no facades, there are no elevations. It's a series of terraces. It's a kind of mound of urban concrete topography.
It's probably one of the only places I can think of in the world where this stepped, almost like a mountainside, exists beside the river. So there are wonderful views and wonderful chances for people to feel that they, can stand on top of the world almost. And again, you can't get to them.
There is an awful lot that's wrong with these buildings. I mean, they're really dysfunctional in many ways. I mean, you can see behind us here, one of the major things that's wrong is that when you come out of what was the main entrance to the Royal Festival Hall, what faces you is a service yard, a whole load of white vans, some concrete undercrofts, and I've just been stopped by someone around the corner who says, show me, where's the Hayward Gallery? No one actually finds the entrance first time round.
Crucial part of the original idea was that when you came up to the upper galleries in the upper floor of the Hayward, there would be skylights letting in natural light from above. But unfortunately, for a number of reasons, the skylights in the Hayward haven't worked in about 20 years. Ideally, you should come up to these upper galleries, you should feel an uplift because of this light coming in from above. You should feel a connection to the outside, which downstairs you're completely cut off from.
The Queen Elizabeth Hall is quite difficult and challenging as a wheelchair user, and I remember having to come up on a
a ramp to get on stage. So once you were on there, it was very difficult to exit. So we used to sort of have to adapt our work so that everyone could stay on stage.
I still find the concrete a bit difficult, I think, especially on a kind of grey, wintry day. But I guess, you know, if the outside were a bit more welcoming, as much as the inside is, that really would be an incredible improvement, definitely.
The architects originally thought of it as something that would become populated with all sorts of activities, things that people couldn't anticipate would happen around the building and on these various levels. The reality is that it's been rather difficult to manage.
When we're imagining a festival, we're thinking that somebody's encounter with it is from the very moment they hit the site. So it's both outdoors as well as indoors.
The arts here are semi-detached, which is completely contrary to the philosophy of the festival philosophy of the Southbank today. And one of the extraordinary things that the Southbank Centre is doing at the moment is opening up the arts and integrating the arts. And the challenge for us here is actually to bring these buildings, all three of these buildings together, and to create a whole festival site.
Some of it's about physical landscape, sharing that with everybody. Some of it's about the symbolism, again, of congregation. And some of it is about the amount of extra space we would get to do all our work. And to be honest, we're packed out all the time, which is great. And so we want to fit more people in.
Many things are unspoken in the life of a man, and with a place there is an unspoken love also, in undercurrents, drifting, waiting its time. A great place and its people are not renewed lightly.